Jaribu kuweka
Sasa tunakuja straight kidogo.
Mama ametuambia tukae mpaka tumesikia tunashinda kwa nao fulani. Sawa tuko hao. Hatuwezi toka mama tunarusha. Hatuwezi toka. Tafika tatu. Mama amesema tukaupigia kata tutafurahi. Mama tungefanya.
Maji imetosha, mnataka maji ingine niwalete? Water, anything, any substance. This is CJ.
Nchi gani?
Setting up our light house. Okay. So, niwalete mbele. Okay. Yes. Okay. Just stand in front of the camera. We're on air right now. All right. So, we just want to hear from you.
They have been rushed to Kenyatta National Hospital and various hospitals that are around here. We have also received other cases who are seriously, who are having actually the fractures in their lower limbs. We've attended to them with a very good team here who have assisted us here. And so far, we are still waiting for more. In case of any other casualties, we are ready to assist them. However, we are still receiving a lot of challenges of supplies and many other commodities that we need here. So far, we've had around 15 practitioners who have come from various hospitals and various actually sister hospitals to assist us here. We also received a very good help from the Catholic Church, which has given us this ground. However, another challenge we are also receiving, we have been tear gassed here. So we are actually having a lot of challenges here, but it is out of utmost charity we are here to assist those who are found to be injured.
Okay. Just to wrap it up, how many have you received and how many are in critical condition? And what are you telling the government for those who are lobbing tear gas inside here?
I've actually received close to 30 to 40 patients, casualties who have received. Those who are seriously injured have been around 9 to 10. Seriously injured with broken legs, some who have been shot on their thighs, some who have been shot on the head, slightly the bullet passing through. And I'm here to tell the government that we are here just to give the humanitarian services. We are not having any other part of the so-called the demonstration. For us, we are just giving what is actually right for us to do.
Your name?
My name is John Yadi. I'm here from the call of our Secretary General of the Kenya National Union of Nurses.
Thank you so much. Let me speak to another one quickly. Your name and tell us how is the situation here?
My name is Felix Musila.
Just stand where you are.
Okay, sorry. My name is Felix Musila, Emergency Plus Medical Services Kenya Records. I'm part of the medical team that has been on standby here from 7 in the morning till now. And so far we have, if I can just give you the numbers we have so far, at our tent we have attended to 21 injured persons. Those persons have been evacuated to the Kenyatta National Hospital and Mbagathi Hospital, and we do have 76 that have been attended to our 3 standby locations in Nairobi. We are here at Holy Family Basilica. We also have another standby location at All Saints Cathedral and then at Jamia Mosque.
Okay. Apart from this location, do you have numbers from the other locations?
Yes, the numbers that I do have in the last 30 minutes that we have evacuated 21 people to Kenyatta, like I did mention.
From which center?
From all the 3 locations, and you have attended to and stabilized 76 at the 3 standby locations within CBD.
All right. Any challenges?
Challenges is that we have a call for backup. Of course, the numbers got a bit overwhelming. So I do have a confirmation that you're having more ambulances to here. So we do expect in the next few minutes we shall be having a backup.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. We'll be getting to you for more updates. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.
Unaona kila mtu anadoroka huko yeye anaenda.
this demonstration can be contained in a peaceful manner. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Sio story ya nini vile?
you the kind of rage these particular protesters
vehicle there. Previously, on Tuesday last week, these protests were largely peaceful. On Thursday, they were largely peaceful. In fact, it was the police who were being accused of excessive force. What changed to your mind, Wakili?
What changed today is that the protesters were provoked. It is the police who started...
In your opinion?
In my opinion.
In your opinion.
And I will share with you. I have been here
But before we get into all of that, Rioba, your reaction to what we are seeing on the screen?
Mimi nataka kusema hivi, hii inafundisha kitu. Viongozi wetu wanapaswa kujipanga, wawasikilize wananchi. Kwa sababu wananchi ndio wamewapa nguvu za kukaa pale. Wamewapa nguvu za kuwaongoza, lakini imefikia sehemu viongozi hawa ambao walipewa hizi nguvu wananyanyasa watu wao. Malcolm X alisema hivi, ukimwona mtu amenyamaza na unamfanyia mambo, ina maana ananungunika ndani ya moyo wake akilia, lakini atakapochukua asila yake aiweke wazi, ina maana lazima mabadiliko yatakuwepo. Sasa mabadiliko ndio sasa yanakuja, kwa sababu viongozi hao walifikiria wananchi hawa hawawezi kutoka nje wakafanya kitu. Sasa wameona sasa ni moto.
The protest has always been the problem of infiltration by criminal elements trying to take advantage of the situation. But the pictures you can see now on your screen are the Kenyatta from the Kenyatta National Hospital. Earlier we heard from those who are providing medical assistance at the Holy Family Basilica that 21 from that station were transported. I believe they said 20, they had treated 21 injured. Some of the 21 were transported to the Kenyatta National Hospital. We saw the ambulance there. And to Mbagathi, we see medical personnel out there. In total, I think they talked about 76, saying they had stations, and that was the Kenya Red Cross, at Holy Family Basilica, at the All Saints Cathedral, and at the Jamia Mall. They were asking police not to lob tear gas canisters into those sanctuaries, because that is essentially what they are, and allow them to help those who are wounded. We saw unions, Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentists Union, clinical officers, saying they were available to provide medical assistance to those who may have been injured in these protests. Prior to now, there were the two young men who were killed following the Thursday protest. Today we also saw, we even heard from our reporters on the field that several have been killed and that there were bodies outside Parliament precincts. Why, John, this escalation?
Yes.
I know that Wakili took the position that the protesters may have been provoked.
And we've been watching from morning. You'll remember that the first person to be shot dead was
I don't really want to get into that, but I just wanted to get your thoughts generally on how the police have responded.
To that directly and say, the first thing is this, two branches of government. So we are a tricameral system with the executive, the judiciary, and the legislature. The legislature has the Senate and Parliament. That was breached today, both of them. And then there were talks that, or rather there were reports of the Supreme Court, precincts also being breached. And then even outside Nairobi, some seats of the executive government, like in Mombasa State House and all that, the perimeters were breached. So that's one reason for the escalation. If you had the interior press briefing yesterday, there was a specific caution about the national critical infrastructure and people being told don't interfere with that, don't damage property and all that. So that's an element, which means the marching orders of the police force, or rather police service, were to protect lives and property, and at some point that gets breached. But to your specific comment, yes, the unfortunate part of such public protest is that you don't know which elements are in there. For example, I'll give you a good example. We saw the church there. It was not just a safe haven, but also a triage point for medical services. A lot of professionals have volunteered, the lawyers and the medics, to provide services to those who are protesting. But now, when things escalate and people are running away, you'll see that protesters will go and take shelter there, and the security forces who are already responding to what's going on in town, where we've seen.
All right, so just sorry to cut you short, John, but let's get a sense of what's happening in Nyeri as we speak.
Kujeni. Shida, unjui janza kurudisha kutoka wapi? Yo. Haya nyuma yetu sasa. Tukapeleka baya kwanza. Haya nyuma yenu Yo mawe.
All right, we now cross back to the Kenyatta National Hospital. As I mentioned earlier, those who were injured in the protests were taken there to receive medical assistance. We have Willie Lusige, who is on ground. Willie, can you tell us what is transpiring?
Olive, definitely it has not been the usual day here at the Accident and Emergency Department at the KNH, because this is where they are receiving all those who have been injured during today's demonstration against the Finance Bill 2024-2025. And you have been camping here for a while, actually for like 3 or 4 hours, and you have seen so many people who are being brought in here. Most of them have been injured, especially in regard to bullet wounds. Some of them have been injured in terms of different body parts. Others have been injured on their legs, their hands, and some of them also have seen victims who have also nursing bullet wounds on their heads. And we have been camping here to be able to see what will be happening in the course of the day, those who are coming in, and also to be able to get the numbers of those who have been injured. So far, as per the statement that has been issued a few minutes ago by the Kenyatta National Hospital Communication Department, they have said they have received so far 45 victims, and they are still receiving others, so that is not the end number, but they are still waiting to be able to capture the total number of details at the end of the day. But as per my own observation, by the time that they were saying they had 45 injured victims, so far we have received more than those, and now the number is going much higher. I can say maybe most probably between 80 and 100, and we have seen some of the ambulances that are arriving here with more than 2 or 3 victims in them. Those ones that you are seeing on your screen, those are the parents, family and friends of those who have been informed. Maybe their relatives or even people close to them have been brought here, because I've spoken to some of the families. They are saying they have only received calls from the Kenyatta National Hospital being told that maybe their family members or even friends have been brought here. So that's why they are camping here, to be able to see what will happen next, and also to be given a chance to get in there in the wards and to have a word maybe with their friends. But some of them who have been brought in here, they are critically injured. Many of them have been taken to, we are being told by the nurses and the doctors who have spoken, to ICU because of the bullet wounds, and those ones who have not been highly injured are also being treated in different places, because the hospital, as per now, the accident and emergency wards are full. That's why they have been trying to find other places to be able to find shelter for those ones who are still being brought in. We have seen different medics, different ambulances, different organizations trying to bring in those victims without considering where they were found or even if they have their relatives nearby. And the number has been increasing since we came here in the course of the day. But as per the statement that was issued by KNH, they said the number of victims we came here in the course of the day. But as per the statement that was issued by KNH, they said the number of victims is actually 45, those ones injured, but this is because they started to receive the victims from 12 noon, and the number that they gave us, that was the total number that they had received by 3 p.m. And then it definitely is clear, you can see from 3 p.m. up to now, the number is a little bit higher. I've also witnessed more than 30 or 40 ambulances coming here, and many of them are not carrying one individual or two, but some are carrying even up to 4 higher up to more than 100 by the end of the day. But the hospital has said it requires more time because it's an emergency crisis to be able to gather more details. They said out of the 45 that they had received, 8 were female, which means the rest, which is the majority, were men. And you can...
Those are more patients coming into the Kenyatta National Hospital. As at now, we don't have the exact figures. We do have the exact figures were given by Red Cross earlier, but let's continue to listen in.
Wakitaka
told, is full. So this is the only place they can be able to receive them quickly and find a place to take them to, because we have seen many of the victims are either injured, most probably by bullet wounds. Some of them are majorly injured on their lower parts of the body, those are legs, and I've seen other victims who have also been injured even in their heads. Some of them were very critically injured, and that's why many of them have been taken to ICU. But the hospital has said it needs more time to be able to gather data, to be able to gather more information about all the victims that have been brought in by. But the statement that I've issued at 3 p.m., they said they had received 45 injured protesters, and among them 8 were female. Then definitely that is a clear indication that the majority are male, and most probably we are still waiting to see if the numbers will be rising, because that is the number that we were given by the hospital by 3 p.m. and from that time up to now, the number of ambulances that have been coming here has been very high, so definitely the numbers have risen. We are not aware the actual number, but I can approximate most probably more than 100 injured victims have been brought here. Now, as you can see on your screen, there's no any ambulance yet here, because at some point we are seeing the number of the ambulances reducing. Then after a few minutes, then you see the high number of ambulances still coming in to bring more victims from all the corners of the city. We have been able also to speak to some of the family members within here who have been able to tell us what happened. They have told us most of them, they got calls from KNH, the hospital, informing them that their relatives had been brought in here. Let me speak to some of them. Tuanze na jina lako, unaitwa nani?
Jina langu naitwa Edward Ochieng.
Mbona umefika hapa?
Nimefika na kuja na mgonjwa hapa kutoka sehemu za Homa Bay.
Wewe umeleta mgonjwa wa maandamano ama si wa maandamano? Sasa tunataka wale wa maandamano. Nani ambaye labda amekuja kumuona mgonjwa wake ambaye labda ameathirika na maandamano? Some of them are wary of speaking to us, but nani hapa na mgonjwa ambaye ameletwa kutokana na maandamano? Tuzungumze naye. Dada, unaitwa nani?
Naitwa Diana.
Mbona umefika hapa? Tufahamishe kwa kifupi.
Nimekuja hapa, kuna rafiki yangu amepata accident, amekuwa tao kwa maandamano na ameshutiwa. So tumekuja hapa, nataka kumuona.
Labda umefahamu vipi amepigwa risasi?
Niliambiwa, nimepigiwa simu ndio nikakuja hapa. So nataka kumuona, nataka kujua venye hali yake iko, nijue venye yako tu.
Labda mmeweza kumuona, kwa sababu tumeambiwa kwamba wengi hawajaweza kupata nafasi ya kuona wapendwa wao.
Bado sijamuona bado.
Naambiwa sababu ni nini?
Wamesema bado wako kwa emergency, lazima wangoje wahudumie kwanza ndio tunaweza kuona baadaye.
Bingu, unaitwa nani?
Naitwa Fredo Nyango. So nimeleta rafiki yangu amepigwa risasi, bati ya mguu imemkata katikati, but nimeona nikamuona ako sawa, but ako tu sawa. Alipigwa pale Parliament.
Alikuwa kwa andamanaji?
Alikuwa anaandamana. Akaingia ndani, sasa after kufungua hizo mlango, hizo fence, akaingia ndani. So
ndani ya bunge.
Ndani ya bunge ndani. So wakatoka na mabunduki wakaanza kuwashoot live bullets. So yeye akapigwa canister hapa kando. Akapigwa kwa thigh. Na akapigwa tena mbunduki ya mguu katikati. Toes zote mbili zimepasuka.
Umepewa nafasi ya kumuona?
Nimemuona, nimekuwa naye huko ndani na nimeacha kitibiwa.
Kwa hivyo wanapokea matibabu kule ndani?
Anapokea matibabu.
So you can hear from friends and family members to the victims that some of them have been given a chance to be able to see their loved ones who are still recuperating inside here, the emergency and accident department at KNH. And many of them, as those ones who have spoken on TV, you have heard definitely the injuries were to do with bullet wounds, and because most of them were demonstrators, we are yet to find out if there are any other person who had been injured who is not a demonstrator, maybe police officers. But from the hospital, what they said, they had only received 45 victims of the protest or the injuries during the protest. 8 were female, and that was the statement they gave to us at 3 p.m. But we're still waiting to see if the hospital will be able to update the data, and also apart from that, also if the number will increase, because definitely there is high number of the people who have been injured during today's protest, and they are still coming in here at the Kenyatta National Hospital Accident and Emergency department. I want to see if I can be able to speak to some of the medics and hear if they have a word. Sister, ujambo? Labda unaweza zungumza na sisi utuambie umepokea. She has said she's not comfortable to speak with us, but we can speak to some of them. Ndugu, unaitwa nani?
Naitwa Joseph. Yes.
Naona wewe ni tabibu hapa, labda siku imekuwaje? Tumeona wagonjwa ni wengi wakifika hapo waliojeruhiwa.
Yes, ndio wamejeruhiwa, lakini sasa hatuna uwezo wa kujua idadi kamili ni wangapi. Watatolewa baadaye ndio tujue idadi kamili ni ngapi, lakini wameletwa kwa wengi.
Wale wanaofika wanapokea matibabu. Tumeona wengi wamejeruhiwa sana kwa bunduki, ni kweli?
Ya, ni kweli wamejeruhiwa kwa bunduki, lakini watatoa idadi kamili.
Na kutokana na kwamba idadi ya wale majeruhi wanaoletwa ni wengi, labda changamoto ambazo mnapitia, labda kule ndani kumejaa, kuna nafasi ya kutosha kuwahudumia?
Hiyo sitaweza kuelezea kamili kwa sababu mimi si katika hiyo kitengo ya kujua kwamba ni wangapi wanafaa ni rooms zinafaa kushughulikia ni ngapi. Siko katika hiyo kitengo.
Sawa. So that is one of the medics who has been handling those victims who have been brought in, especially across the city, those ones who have been injured during today's anti-finance bill protest. And you can also see that a lot of medics have been brought in from even other hospitals to be able to help Kenyatta National Hospital to cater in regard to the high number of victims. So those ones that you are seeing, some of them have been brought in from other hospitals to be able to help those ones who have been injured. And also to highlight, many of the victims are also coming from All Saints Cathedral, where the hospital, the church had given space to medics who are offering free services to those injured. And also there's another free medical point I hear within the town, I think at Jamia Mosque. So many of the victims are also coming from those 2 points, because those are the nearest point to the city, and the first point where the victims are being taken is All Saints and that place in Jamia. And if the doctors there are feeling that they can be able not to handle those cases, then they are sending them here at the Kenyatta National Hospital. In terms of number of those ones maybe who have died, I cannot be able to tell that, because the hospital, as we spoke to those in charge of the hospital, they said by that time they did not have any fatalities reported here, but that might change in the course of the day. So we'll still be following up to see what will happen and see what will happen in the course of the day. Olive, I'll be able to give more updates as this continues to unfold here at the Kenyatta National Hospital Accident and Emergency Department.
Thank you for that update, Willie Lusige, speaking to us from the Kenyatta National Hospital there, where those who are injured in the protests are being taken. Earlier, the Kenya Red Cross said those who are seriously injured were being taken to the Kenyatta National Hospital and the Mbagathi Hospital. And Nakuru, we saw some pictures of a confrontation between protesters and the police, but the situation appears to have been contained. It appears that the running battles were triggered by the shooting of 2 protesters, but we'll have more information shortly. We'll have those pictures on your screen. With me in studio, I have John Kinuthia, and those are the images that are coming out of Nakuru next to those of the Kenyatta National Hospital. I was asking earlier, John Kinuthia is a leadership and security strategist, whether it's usual to see medical personnel outside the accident and emergency receiving area.
Sure. So this being a crisis situation, which the formal term is disaster management, because it's a crisis or crisis management. The medics you see lining up are affiliated to the to the patients being brought in by ambulance. So there are two sets of medics. There are those at the hospital receiving the patients, and then there are those who are bringing the patients in ambulances. So the medic who's bringing the patient in ambulances, especially the critical cases, they're obligated to hand them over directly to the medics at the hospital so that they can brief them, tell them the status of the patient, give them their vitals, their blood pressure, their oxygen, their heart rates, and all that. and most importantly, any medical notes that are necessary. For example, if you had already administered some sorts of medications, if the hospital staff were to administer the same medications, it will be an overdose. So they need to hand over personally, hand over the patient to the hospital staff. So the ones you see queuing are the ones who have brought them in ambulances. And because this is a triage situation, which means that the hospital emergency you see queuing are the ones who have brought them in ambulances, and because this is a triage situation, which means that the hospital emergency teams will be prioritizing the more serious cases. Especially, you had the doctor or the medic at the church saying some people have very serious wounds like broken limbs and gunshot wounds, even to the head, and all that. So,
all right. So I'm seeing the representatives of some human rights organizations, including Haki Africa, that is Khalid, who is about to address the press there. Yes. Let's listen and then we'll continue the conversation later. Sure.
Khalid ni moja wanaharakati. We rushed here after we heard that the injured have been rushed here. We've spoken to some of the doctors. Wametuambia that they've received 2 dead. When they arrived, they were already dead. One had was shot in the head, and the other one was already dead. I don't know where he was injured. They've also informed us that so far they have treated around 125. 125, most of them injuries, soft tissue injuries. Others were injured in different places. But it's really sad to see these kinds of injuries, because this procession, this protest was largely peaceful. And we didn't expect that, these kinds of fatalities would be reported, these kinds of injuries would be happening. We are very saddened, and we want to inform the state that Kenya has moved many years from those dark days, and we are not in a police state. Yes. And the police should not use excessive force on peaceful, youthful protesters. We will work with the necessary institutions, we will work with the necessary authorities to make sure those that have been killed, those that have been injured, they get justice. We cannot allow, any use of excessive force like this. And we are committed to ensure that the message gets through, that the government listens to the people. Kenya is a country that is governed by a rule of law. Yes. And police cannot use excessive force on peaceful protesters like this. Yes. Over 100 people have been treated here. Yes. We cannot have such kind of a situation. And we will stand firmly with those that are injured. We'll stand firmly with those that have been killed and make sure that they get justice.
Taxes must fall.
Yes, of course, this will not deter us from delivering the message. And the message is very clear. Reject finance bill. Why are we being forced to accept this? You cannot force this bill on Kenyans' throats. Why is the message not getting through to these people? Yeah, 204 people against 54 million. Does that even make sense? So we are saying enough is enough. Listen to the masses. Listen to the people. Yes. Come down from your high seat and listen to the voices. You can't say you want to dialogue, then you are killing people. How is that dialogue when you're shooting live bullets at peaceful protesters? That is not right. That is unacceptable. Yes. We are living in a country governed by a constitution and the rule of law. Yes. Kwa nini munatumia live bullets against people? Yes. Why are you doing that? So this is unacceptable. Na tumesema enough is enough. Yes. And we must listen to the voices of the people. Yes. Well, right now we've informed IPOA. We, of course, are waiting for the next of kin to be informed. We can't just come in. Lazima tutafute familia za wale wameuliwa, waelezewe kwanza. We must respect that. After that, of course, just as we've done with Rex, just as we are doing with Evans, we'll proceed to the post-mortem and then immediately make sure those officers who are involved are removed from the service, investigations zifanywe, and after that, washikwe, wafunguliwe mashtaka na wafungwe korokoroni.
Out of the 125 casualties, how many have been informed are suffering from gunshots?
Well, they can't count, but they told us definitely some of those wounds are as a result of shooting. We have quite a number that probably is soft tissue, but they said that out of the 125 or so, a good number. They said a good number. I can't tell the number, but they said a good number are gunshot wounds victims.
So we currently have over 100 people at Jamia Mosque. So those are casualties that have not been reported. Currently we have people that are in Jamia Mosque. We have a Red Cross team ambao bado hawajafika hapa. Kwa hivyo namba ambazo Hussein Khalid amesema ni tofauti, ni wale ambao wako hapa Kenyatta National Hospital, lakini kuna wale ambao bado mpaka sasa hivi tunaweza kucollect. Lakini data itaweza kupotekana labda kesho ama kesho kutwa, lakini tunaomba sisi sote wale ambao wako saizi town, tafadhali turudi nyumbani, manake tulikuwa tushaamua ni kuanzia saa 6 mpaka saa ngapi? Saa 11. Kwa hivyo tungewaomba wale saa 12 naarifiwa hivyo. Kwa wale Gen Z na wale ambao wamekuwa na sisi, tafadhali turudi nyumbani, tujipange na tuangalie vipi tutakavyoenda, si ndio?
Yeah, we are appealing to the protesters, please, wherever you are, if you're listening, the time imefika. Please, let's end this now. Make sure you reach home when there is still daylight. Don't give them an excuse, because we know last time wale waliuliwa ilikuwa ni usiku. And this is the time when they send out goons to break into shops, to destroy property, and then they use that to kill more of our youth. So we are appealing to everyone who is out there right now. The message has been delivered. We've occupied Parliament. Kila mtu amesikia message. Zakayo ashuke, reject finance bill. Please, please and please. Right now, let's make our way home peacefully, and we leave to protest another day. Thank you very much.
Down, down finance bill.
Down, down finance bill.
Zakayo ashuke.
Aya, kata. Hiyo ndio picha sana. Alafu msanga tusonge mbele. Msanga bado hapo tutazungumza.
Leo wameamua. Nani?
Wako Nyeri.
Police Kenyatta. Police Kenyatta. Kuna shida hapa. Kama wameingilia pesa. Kama wameingilia pesa. Kwa screen ama hapo. Boss. Nini naendelea ndani? Okay. Hebu angalia kama tutaweka. Hebu shika. Kusikia mhaiko? Niko. Ndio risasi inapiga moja. Kile ndio wewe. Ndio onyesha hiyo. Hii ni live. Mambo ni mangapi? Akuje pale, akae pale, penye ikomba kura, akuje tusikize. Sisi hatuna chama, hatuna ukabila ama nini kama hiyo. Lakini
Ruto ashuke. Ashuke. Kabisa. Kufurahia na history. Kofiti mbaya sana. Na tunajililia bana. Najililia. Hii hapa. Tunaweza ongea. Sema kitu bro, sema kitu bro. Sema kitu kwangu. Wewe usikakuja tu tuongee, tunaogopa kuongea. Sawa, iko sawa. Wacha tuongee. Kaji. Fit. Sasa hivi nimeshayabu. Barua kutoka Kenyatta wanauliza kama ananiambia. Hapa bana. Nataka unaanza kuwa reporter kidogo. Bana, wanza kusema hata polisi. Acha tuna. Reject that thing. Reject bana. Reject kitu. Wameturushia bado wanatuletea baka mafarasi.
Anthony Muheria of Nyeri and Apostolic Administrator of Embu, Archbishop Martin Kivuva of Mombasa, Archbishop Philip Anyolo of Nairobi, Right Reverend Joseph Mairura Okemwa of Kisii, Right Reverend Alfred Rotich of Kericho, Right Reverend Norman Kingo Wambua of Machakos, Right Reverend Peter Kiara of Marsabit, Right Reverend David Kamau Nganga, Auxiliary Bishop of Nairobi, Right Reverend Anthony Reri Mukobo, Bishop of Isiolo, Right Reverend Salesius Mugambi, Bishop of Meru, Right Reverend James Maria Wainaina, Bishop of Muranga, Right Reverend Paul Kariuki Njiru, Bishop of Wote, Right Reverend Dominic Mengich, Bishop of Eldoret, Right Reverend John Obala Owa, Bishop of Ngong, Right Reverend Joseph Mbatia, Bishop of Nyaururu, Right Reverend Joseph Obanyisagwe, Bishop of Kakamega, Right Reverend Joseph Mongela, Bishop of Kitui, Right Reverend Michael Odiwa, Bishop of Homa Bay, Right Reverend Willie Badlago, Bishop of Malindi, Right Reverend Mark Kadima, Bishop of Bungoma, Right Reverend George Muthaka, Bishop of Garissa, Right Reverend John Binda, Bishop of Lodwar, Right Reverend Yoronimus Amusugut Joya, Bishop of Maralal, Right Reverend Henry Juma Odonya, Bishop of Kitale, Right Reverend Cleophas Oseso, Bishop of Nakuru, Right Reverend Simon Peter Kamamoe, Auxiliary Bishop of Nairobi, Right Reverend Wallace Nganga, Auxiliary Bishop of Nairobi, Right Reverend John Lelei, Auxiliary Bishop of Eldoret, and Monsignor John Njue, Apostolic Administrator, Military Ordinariate. We take this chance also to invite all our Kenyan Catholics that beginning this evening, we are beginning a novena, the Sacred Heart of Jesus Christ, a prayer of 9 days, the whole country, to pray for our country. The novena, the Sacred Heart of Jesus. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bishop
the whole
Chair.
country.
We allow kindly two
We have
questions.
no other country we can go to. We need to
We feel
maintain
two questions
peace.
and one who has a
Whatever
question.
else comes
Yes,
in
please,
the coming
kindly.
days, we need to protect zealously our country, Kenya, for maintaining peace and order.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
We have
all
presented
for
our
coming.
views as invited by the
We
government
always
in the
want to
public.
applaud you. We know you also have gone through tough moments in these street protests. Let's give them just a round of applause. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You will get a copy once it has been tidied up. Just a few minutes.
Thank you.
They've
been given a cup of tea.
Hi, Belisa.
They have had the country already.
Wametoa?
Pray for our young people and all the Kenyans. We pray that you are with.
Thank you very much, members of the media. We have here a statement released by the Kenya Conference of Catholic Bishops. It is entitled, God Save Our Beloved Country, with a quotation from Matthew chapter 25, verse 40. Truly I tell you, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did it for me. The current situation that we are now witnessing calls us to address the nation and especially our dear young people. We also wish to speak clearly to our leadership, the President, the entire government, and the members of Parliament. We appeal and plead that we have a moment of reflection and listening. We are saddened that what started as lawful protests has degenerated into violent conflict. This was not the initial aim of the Gen Z protests. We earnestly appeal to the police not to shoot at the protesters. We also appeal to the young people to remain peaceful. We condole with all those who have been shot dead and others who have been injured and plead for calm. No one should lose life. We also need to advise against unconstitutional actions like attempting to take over Parliament due to their serious consequences. Once more, we are pleading for a peaceful and meaningful engagement for the good of our nation. Number one, excessive taxation in the contentious Finance Bill 2024-2025. The Finance Bill 2024-2025Mostly of resistance from must pay taxes, but the government must not overtax its citizens, and it should not be in denial about its intended excessive taxation. The country is bleeding, and therefore we invite the government to reflect on this matter with the seriousness it deserves. Number 2, the Gen Z on the finance bill. We understand, therefore, why the Gen Zs have taken to the streets to express their displeasure to the government. The young generation is alive to the negative impact punitive taxes have in their own lives. The government needs to face the plain truth that families are immensely suffering. Young people have reached a point of taking it upon themselves to express discontent with the insensitivity of the government to these unwarranted taxes that only raise higher the cost of living. The government must listen to the pain of its citizens caused by the high cost of living. Ignoring them will only escalate tensions in the country and draw young people and citizenry into despair. We plead with the President that he listens to the voices of so many and respond concretely to the current situation triggered by the proposed finance bill.
Number 3, genuine intent to support young people. We, the Kenya Conference of Catholic Bishops, understand the desperation of the young people. We have consistently called on the government to be responsible for creating an environment in which young people can use their knowledge to create jobs, get employed, or pursue meaningful opportunities. We are yet to see a clear and well-defined roadmap for this end. The billions siphoned from taxpayer money, for example, are enough to employ thousands of youths. In the absence of tangible initiatives, young people are right in expressing their desperation. They are not getting the promised jobs. They are not seeing a government that is committed to using the taxes it collects for justifiable ends. Nor are they pursuing the corrupt. Their coming out to point out the challenges of the government is therefore understandable, and we commend them for being proactive citizens. We encourage and must applaud you, our dear young people, for keeping away from looting and violence. We appreciate that you have generated a slogan that we are peaceful. This is a step in the right direction, as affirmed in Scripture. The Lord examines the righteous, but the wicked, those who love violence, he hates with a passion. Psalm 11, verse 5. Number 4, purpose of Gen Z protest should be respected. Even as we commend you, Gen Z, for being proactive, we would like to advise that in themselves, protests will not solve the problem of government insensitivity in addressing problems like the finance bill. With your creativity and innovative technology tools available, which you are using to organize yourself and pass your message to the government, you need to consider more innovative approaches to draw constructive engagement to address the social and economic woes our country is facing. Do not give up on pursuing direct engagement with government and other stakeholders. We also encourage patience as you engage. As bishop, we also want to warn you, our dear young people, not to be misused for hidden interest by some of the people who may be interested to use your protests. While pursuing genuine concerns of unemployment, a bleak future, limited opportunities for self-development, and the fear of the shrinking economy, there are people out there whose interests are to capitalize on your grievances to advance their agenda. We ask you to be on guard so that you may not be misused for goals that are not part of your genuine concerns. Number 5, use of excessive force by the police. We, the Catholic bishops, while appreciating several occasions the police have tried to act rightly, decry and condemn in the strongest terms the use of force by the police, the arrests, and the indiscriminate and unnecessary use of live bullets. Unwarranted attacks on peaceful protesters cannot be justified. The police have many ways to ensure protests remain peaceful. The police should focus on criminals who implant themselves in peaceful protests to create chaos and rob or destroy property. As a country, we have seen demonstrations and protests in the past. We know that police should ensure peaceful assemblies of any. As a country, we have seen demonstrations and protests in the past. We know that police should ensure peaceful assemblies of any kind and not fuel violence and public hate towards the same police that are supposed to protect them. As a God-fearing nation, we should not forget Isaiah 1:17, which says, "Learn to do right, seek justice, defend the oppressed, take up the cause of fatherless, plead the case of the widow." Being police does not give one a license to take away innocent lives.
Six, places of worship as sacred. Remember, places of worship are not...
Mheshimiwa Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, kiongozi wa Wiper. Hapa vilevile tuko na mwenzetu Secretary General wa Jubilee Party, na wengine bado wako njiani wanakuja, wakiwemo wabunge wetu. Wengi bado wako kwenye maeneo ya bunge. Kumekuwa na mchafuko alasiri ya leo, na tunasikitika sana ya kwamba Wakenya wamepoteza maisha yao, na tumekuwa na umwagikaji damu katika bunge letu la Kenya. Kwa miaka yetu 60 ile tumesherekea Madaraka Day, hatujawahi kuwa na tukio kama hili, Wakenya kuwawa mbele ya bunge yao, mbele ya wanahabari na dunia yote. Na leo tunataka tukashifu kabisa kitendo hiki cha kihalifu, polisi waliotumia risasi kuua watoto wetu, na tuambie ya kwamba wote wataajibika mbele ya sheria. Pili, tunataka tuseme ya kwamba Mheshimiwa Ruto alikuwa amesema kule Nyahururu ya kwamba ako tayari kuwasikiza Wakenya na haswa kizazi cha Gen Z, na leo badala ya kuwasikiza ameamuru polisi wake kurusha risasi, kurusha tear gas, kuwajeruhi na kuwaua watoto wetu. Hawa watoto sio wa Azimio, sio wa Kenya Kwanza, ni watoto wa Kenya ambao wamekuja kutetea haki zao, na wana haki kulingana na kipengee cha 37 cha katiba yetu kufanya maandamano ambayo wamefanya siku ya leo. Njia ya kinyama ambayo wameshughulikiwa na polisi wetu Sisi kama wanaazimio tunakashifu na tunasema kufika kesho tutakuwa tunapeana taarifa zaidi baada ya kupata ripoti kutoka maeneo yote ya nchi yetu, kaunti 47, sababu tuwasikia kando na mauaji ya Nairobi, kaunti zingine pia kuna majeruhi na kuna Wakenya wamepoteza maisha yao. Lakini kwa leo twasema kitendo kimefanyika bungeni, Wakenya kupoteza imani na wabunge wao ambao wameongeza ushuru kiholela, wameambiwa hawasikii, na Waswahili wanasema asiyesikia la mkuu huvunjika guu. Wakuu wetu ni Wakenya, wale wameingia bungeni leo, na kitendo cha leo cha maanisha Wakenya wamepoteza imani na bunge yao, wamepoteza imani na serikali ya William Samoei Arap Ruto, na sisi tunaungana na Wakenya wote kutoka sehemu zote za Kenya ambao wamesema Ruto must go, ambao wamesema Ruto must resign. Na tumwambia badala ya wewe kuendelea kuwa pale na Wakenya wamepoteza imani nawe, uongozi wako na serikali yako, jiuzulu ili uzuie umwagikaji damu. Vijana wawili wamewawa tangu maandamano haya yaanze, kijana Evans, kijana Rex, vijana wadogo sana. Kando na hawa bado tulikuwa tunafuatilia, hata hawajazikwa leo vijana wengine wamewawa na Bwana Ruto na askari wake. Leo kama wanaazimio tunaungana na Wakenya wengine kusema Ruto must go, Ruto must resign, he must do the honorable thing. Sababu Wakenya kuingia pale wachukue ile the mess of parliament, authority of parliament, inamaanisha bunge hilo na serikali hii hawana imani nao tena. So let them do the honorable thing and resign. That is what we are calling upon them. Na nataka wenzangu waweze kuongelea mambo haya. Lakini pia kama waziri wa ulinzi, aweze kupeana taarifa yetu rasmi, na nimwombe pia SG wetu wa Jubilee Mheshimiwa Kioni aweze kuongezea. Your Excellency, karibu.
Thank you. I had actually already read out the statement by Azimio leadership, which was further to what was issued earlier by our party leader, the Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. So this was additional to that. But he also taken the opportunity to lay it very clearly. Kenyans have demonstrated across the country, from Turukana to Lamu, from Kitui to Kakamega, from Makueni to Lodwar. Lodwar is in Turukana. Okay. In Garissa, the 47 counties of our republic, and all of them were unanimous. The finance bill must be withdrawn in its totality. And shockingly, their cause, clarion calls, were not heeded, resulting in a matter that has never happened in the history of this country, where symbolically the Kenyan people have withdrawn their delegated authority to Parliament by taking hold of the mace. And that actually means the sovereign power, the sovereign authority of the Kenyan people is vested in the people themselves. So this is not a matter that Kenya Kwanza and Mheshimiwa William Ruto can take lightly. They have said Ruto must go. It is not Azimio saying so. It is the people of Kenya saying Ruto must go. And so the killings we are saying must stop. And the Honorable Eugene Wamalwa has explained in some very fine detail why our military, our KDF, who have done beautifully, served with such distinction, not only in Kenya, but in places like Sierra Leone, in Mozambique. Right now, they're doing duty in Somalia from the days when we were there with President Kibaki. They should not be drawn into this local conflict. They are also our children, they all get affected, they all have pay slips, which are looking very thin, and therefore we just wanted to reiterate that point. And finally, media, the freedom of expression, the freedom of the press. Kenya Kwanza, we gather that the plan is they wait until 6:30, according to Kindiki, and then close down the country. This cannot happen, not in Kenya. This is a democracy, and a functioning democracy, where the will of the people must always prevail. And the majority have spoken. This is why we are saying Honorable Ruto should do the right thing, the honorable thing, resign before Sri Lanka happens here in Kenya.
All right. Correct. Mheshimiwa Kioni.
I associate myself with the comments that have been made by my colleagues, but add that
Kama pia uko gas bana.
Unajua kwa hiyo tuombe beli inaisha. Hata ni pesa leta. Ndio tunasurvive.
6 places of worship as sacred.
We welcome civic engagement by all leaders, in particular the youth, in addressing issues of vital public concern. We call for restraint on all sides and encourage all leaders to find peaceful solutions through constructive dialogue. The statement has been jointly issued by the Canadian High Commission, the Royal Danish Embassy, the Embassy of Finland, Embassy of the Federal Republic of Germany, Embassy of Ireland, Embassy of the Netherlands, Embassy of the Republic of Estonia, Embassy of Norway, Embassy of Sweden, Embassy of Romania, Embassy of Belgium, the British High Commission, and the Embassy of the United States of America. It is not the only statement that has been issued this afternoon following those events that have been playing out on your screens. The Kenya National Commission on Human Rights has also written a letter to the President, William Samoei Ruto, a call to action on the escalating human rights violations and state of anarchy in the country, they say, during the ongoing protests against the Finance Bill 2024. In the letter, they say, Mr. President, today is a sad day in the history of our beloved motherland. The Kenya National Commission on Human Rights has been monitoring the shocking escalation of human rights violations seen in the last few hours, including excessive use of force and indiscriminate shooting of civilians by police, as well as a section of violent protesters. Pursuant to its constitutional mandate to protect human rights for all in Kenya, the Commission hereby calls on your immediate and direct intervention as follows. A, they say that he swore to defend and protect the Constitution of Kenya. They say this is the time to do it. They also demand that era of all human rights and fundamental freedoms, the duty you.